we're going to have a quick go at the second activity for the estate agents database now. The first thing that we need to do is have a look at validation. And the first item is a record will not save without the customer's surname being present. The customer's surname is in the vendors table, so I'm going to double click that and then open it up into design view. Make sure that you've got the surname field highlighted, and in the properties, change required to yes. So I just double clicked that to change it from no to yes. The second thing is a record will not save if the customer is assigned an invalid title. So there's a couple of ways to do that. The first thing that we can do is change it to a lookup wizard. And we will type in the values that are needed. And we have Mrs., Mr., Ms. and Dr. And click finish. And I'm going to just test that out. So I'm going to save where we are. Say no to checking the existing data. Go into datasheet view. And we've missed out Miss. So I'm going to go back to design view. Go back to the lookup wizard. And click finish. And we can do here limit to list, which means that it will only allow items that have been predetermined in this list. You can see here what the items are. If we didn't want to run through the lookup wizard again and we wanted to add in something else, we could do comma, open up our inverted commas and type in Sir, close inverted commas. And don't forget to save as we're going along. The next thing is a record will not save if the garage is not one of the 3 permitted values. So this time I'm going to go and close this table vendors and open properties. Go into design view and go down to the garage. We can see here that we've got S, D and N, and we can just enter a validation rule which says S or D and we can use the description text as the validation text so that our database users are aware of what they can enter. And again, we don't want to check the existing data. Just to confirm what else we have here, so a presence check. So we had that in vendors, our surname was required, so it is present. The length check, this could be in any one of the lengths, so here we've got the field size 5. A value lookup, so if we go back to properties, go into design view, I apologise. In vendors, in the title, we have a lookup. We're not able to do the table lookup here, although you could have a list of the different titles in a separate table, and then you could allow this combo box lookup to pick from that table. And the last thing that we're going to do is format check. So inside the design view, got date registered, and we've got a format of long date. Okay, it's also set as date time, so if you try to enter anything else in there, it won't accept it. I'm going to make sure that both tables are closed before creating the query in number 3. Create, query design. We have to create a query to display an alphabetically sorted list of single and double garages. It must show the property ref and price only. So although it has to show the property ref and price, if we want to sort by a list of single and double garages, then we must have that field in our query as well, even if we don't display it when it gets to datasheet view. So the 3 fields that we need are property ref, price and garage. I'm going to uncheck the box for garage and set it to sort ascending, and then I'm going to say that it's got to be S or D. Just be careful when you're doing that. I just press tab, and that allowed a default input to be entered when I didn't want it to. So if I run this now, I only have the property ref and the price shown. I'm going to save that, again with the format QRY to say query and single, double. Okay. So the last thing that I want to do is to create a query that would allow a user to enter a parameter value for the number of beds when run. There's a special way that you can enter a parameter value. It's quite straightforward, and you just have to put square brackets along with a text prompt of what you want to enter. So, a parameter value for the number of beds. So we're going to have to do this step by step. So I definitely only want the properties. And the first thing that I need to do is enter the price, because we need to calculate that, and beds. And the criteria here is going to say enter the number of beds. Before we go any further, I'm going to double check that this query is doing what I expect. So I'm going to click run, enter the number of bedrooms. I'll select 3. Okay. Right, so we know that we're displaying the number of beds, but what we're going to do now is count them. So to do that, I'm going to switch on this totals button, and group by does exactly what it sounds like. So it would group by the number of beds. It also wants the overall property value lost due to withdrawal. So we're going to have to ensure that we have a status in here. I'll just check what it's called. And we need to put in the word withdrawn. Click run, type in the number of bedrooms, and it says there's 2 properties that have been withdrawn. Now the important thing here is to calculate the total value of this column and count the number of records that we've got. So now that we know that the query is selecting the right records, we can finish the calculation. So inside price, we're going to sum it, but we also need to do a count, and I'm going to use the property ref as the count. So I'm going to put you can type anything in here as the title for this column, but it must have a colon, and then you've got to give it the expression afterwards. And the expression that I want here is property ref. And rather than group by, I'm going to choose the count function. And then when I run it, choose number of bedrooms 3. It gives us the total value of the properties that withdrawn. We can check that it's just using 3 bedrooms and it's just using a status of withdrawn, and it shows that the number, I'll just stretch this out, the number of properties withdrawn is 2. And that's it, we've completed that activity.